From our Chicago studios, this is the Muslim News on Muslim Network TV. Assalamu alaikum, I'm Samana Siddiqui. Our top story tonight. Israel has intensified its military incursion into Syria following the Ba'ath regime's fall. Anadolu News Agency has captured images of Israeli tanks in Majd al-Shams near the occupied Golan Heights. On Tuesday, Israeli forces seized territories along the Lebanon-Syria border, advancing within approximately 15 miles of the capital, Damascus. President Bashar al-Assad has reportedly fled to Russia after Damascus fell to anti-regime groups. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has declared the collapse of a UN-monitored buffer zone agreement. The Israeli army took control of Mount Hermon and other strategic locations in Syria. Dozens of Israeli airstrikes have targeted Syrian military bases, missile depots, and unconventional weapons. Israel justified these actions as defensive measures against threats. The Golan Heights, which Israel has occupied since 1967, holds strategic significance for its geographic advantage and access to vital water resources. Free Palestine protesters disrupted Secretary of State Antony Blinken's testimony before a House panel on the U.S. withdrawal from Afghanistan on Wednesday. One demonstrator labeled Blinken the butcher of Gaza, while another holding a sign reading "Stop bombing kids" condemned Israel's killing of children in the region. The protester was arrested and removed. Despite the interruptions, Blinken continued speaking, defending U.S. policy. The U.S., which has long considered Israel a key ally, supplies nearly 70% of its weapons. Israel continues to face scrutiny around the world for its genocide in Gaza. Last month, the International Criminal Court issued war crime warrants for Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and ex-defense chief Yoav Gallant. Israeli airstrikes have killed at least 37 Palestinians, including 12 security guards escorting a humanitarian aid convoy near Khan Yunis in Gaza. The drone attack left more than 30 others injured, many critically, further crippling efforts to deliver essential supplies to the region. This targeted strike is part of a trend of attacks on aid workers and convoys, raising global concerns about the safety of humanitarian efforts. Separately, Israel killed 7 people in a Gaza City airstrike on a residential building, including children. Earlier, a strike on Rafah killed 10 civilians waiting in line for flour, while residential buildings and shelters across Gaza faced relentless Israeli bombardment. The UN Relief and Works Agency, or UNRWA, has halted aid deliveries to Gaza, citing Israeli restrictions and increasing risks to personnel. UNRWA Chief Philippe Lazzarini has urged Israel to allow safe and uninterrupted humanitarian access. He emphasizes the dire need for aid amid widespread food shortages and devastation. Israel's relentless attacks come as the UN General Assembly overwhelmingly demanded an immediate ceasefire and voiced support for Palestinian refugees. While the resolutions are not legally binding, they reflect mounting global disapproval of Israel's genocide in Gaza. With Israel tightening its blockade and aid delivery nearly impossible, Gaza is teetering on the brink of catastrophe. Israel's genocide in Gaza has killed at least 44,805 Palestinians and wounded 106,257 others. Last month, the International Criminal Court issued arrest warrants for Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and former Defense Minister Yoav Gallant for war crimes and crimes against humanity in Gaza. Israel also faces a genocide case at the International Court of Justice for its deadly war on Gaza. The Bangladesh Nationalist Party, or BNP, staged a massive protest on Wednesday condemning India for aggression and disinformation. Thousands of BNP supporters began their journey from the capital Dhaka toward the city of Brahmanbaria, near the border close to the Indian city of Agartala. That is where extremists recently attacked the Bangladesh consulate, prompting Indian authorities to express regret and make arrests. BNP leader Burhul Kabir Rizvi criticized India for allegedly supporting former Bangladeshi Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina, who fled to India amid anti-government political unrest in August. Rizvi accused India of undermining the sovereignty of South Asian nations. Tensions between India and Bangladesh have escalated, with reports of the Indian Coast Guard detaining Bangladeshi vessels for unauthorized fishing. Meanwhile, Nobel laureate Muhammad Yunus, head of Bangladesh's interim government, has called for restraint in bilateral relations following the first high-level diplomatic talks between the nations on Monday. Texas Land Commissioner Don Buckingham has announced plans to lease a 1,400-acre ranch to the Trump administration for mass deportations. Speaking on a television program, Buckingham emphasized the state's readiness to support federal immigration strategies along the Texas-Mexico border. These include building facilities and extending a border wall. Buckingham also said they are prepared to work with the incoming Trump administration, including the Department of Homeland Security, Immigration and Customs Enforcement, and U.S. Border Patrol. The land was recently acquired by the Texas Land Commission. It was purchased after the previous owner resisted border law enforcement activities. Buckingham expressed optimism about collaborating with Trump's incoming administration. She said she anticipates construction of a 1.5-mile border wall to begin within days, which she claims highlights Texas' commitment to ensuring safety. White House teams up with Turkey to locate missing journalist Austin Tice. Details after the break, so stay tuned, and we'll be right back. Welcome back. The White House has reaffirmed its commitment to locating American journalist Austin Tice. He has been missing in Syria since 2012. White House spokesperson Karine Jean-Pierre emphasized that finding Tice is a top priority for the Biden administration. The U.S. is collaborating with Turkey and other nations, though specifics remain undisclosed. Tice's mother, Deborah Tice, remains hopeful, citing vetted information indicating her son is alive and being treated well. She spoke following a meeting with President Joe Biden's National Security Advisor, Jake Sullivan. Freelance journalist Austin Tice, who worked for outlets like CBS and The Washington Post, vanished after being stopped at a checkpoint in a Damascus suburb. A video later showed him blindfolded and detained. The U.S. has announced an $11 million reward for information leading to Tice's location. With ongoing efforts, hopes are renewed for his return, especially amid potential changes in Syria's political landscape, where a new government is set to take power. Relatives of those detained in the prisons of deposed Syrian President Bashar al-Assad are trying to identify their loved ones from photos. These are displayed on the outer walls of Al-Mujtahid Hospital in the capital Damascus. About 40 bodies stacked in bags and showing signs of torture were transferred from the morgue of Harasta Military Hospital in Damascus to Al-Mujtahid Hospital for autopsy procedures. It is believed that the individuals who were determined to have been killed by torture were recently dropped off at the hospital. Mohammed Halif came from the Hama province to Damascus searching for his brother. He has not heard from him since 2014. Canadian lawmakers have called for urgent measures to tackle Islamophobia, anti-Semitism, and hate on university campuses. Members of the Liberal and New Democrat parties are demanding a ban on terrorist emblems, a crackdown on discriminatory protests, and enhanced hate crime policing. A study by the House of Commons Committee on Justice and Human Rights recommended 34 actions. These include creating the charge of intimidation under the Criminal Code and defining strict rules for campus protests. They have urged Ottawa to boost police hate crime units and recognize discrimination against Palestinians as a distinct hate category. Opposition parties have raised concerns, with Conservatives questioning separate recognition for Palestinians and the Bloc Québécois opposing faculty hires based on ethnicity or religion. The recommendations are now under review by Justice Minister Arif Virani. An Afghan minister in the Taliban-led administration was killed, along with 6 others, in an explosion on Wednesday. Afghanistan's local media reports acting refugees and repatriation minister Khalilur Rahman Haqqani was killed inside his ministry building in the capital, Kabul. Haqqani's nephew, Anas Haqqani, told reporters the explosion occurred as the minister was leaving a mosque after offering afternoon prayers. Haqqani was a prominent Taliban leader and the late brother of Jalaluddin Haqqani, founder of the Haqqani Network. He was instrumental in Taliban's 2-decade war against U.S.-led foreign forces in Afghanistan. The killing marked the first assassination of a sitting minister since the Taliban returned to power in Kabul in August 2021. That's all from our Chicago studios tonight. Thank you for watching Muslim News. We are a community channel dedicated to bringing you stories you can trust. Please like, share, and subscribe to our content. You can also comment to let us know what you think of our coverage. You can donate now by visiting muslimnetwork.tv/donate. For more content, keep watching Muslim Network TV. Salam.